I'm here at Ivy Bridgewater with Mr. Herbert Wiley from William Penn High School. Which class?
Class of 1967.
Class of 1967. And I'm just here interviewing Mr. Wiley to talk about his experiences in high school and just different things. So, Mr. Wiley, let's just get started. Just tell me a little bit about your childhood and growing up. Where did you grow up in High Point?
Yes, I was born here in High Point, August 26, 1949. My family lived originally on what is Washington Street, and we moved down to 406 Hobson Street, where my father built a house. So we had a home there at 406 Hobson Street. I went to elementary school at A.J. Griffin Elementary School, which is still here in High Point. It's part of the Penn Griffin complex now. I went there for all my elementary schooling from the first to the 7th grade. After the 7th grade, we moved to Albany, Georgia. I went to school there for my 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th grade years, and we returned to High Point 1966, and I started my senior year at William Penn High School. Because I had grown up with most of the young people here in High Point, it was a family type atmosphere. If one thing that segregation had that integration doesn't have is that a sense of family, because they wanted to say that we were separate and equal. Really, it was separate and unequal, and we had to overcome secondhand school books, less than Class A facilities, teaching techniques, and we were exposed to learning behind the curve as opposed to ahead of the curve. And this created an atmosphere of I've got to try harder to catch up, stay up, and get ahead. If you were black coming up, or African American, or whoever they want to say, in the 50s, in the early 60s, the mindset was, I must be better. Because our parents had come out of a time when they weren't allowed to be better. Our parents were only allowed to be what society said they were. Ours was the first generation to be exposed to an opportunity to exceed our conditions, our circumstances. The thing about a segregated society is that you are a victim of the circumstances of that society. We were the first generation who were given an opportunity to overcome those circumstances. With the 1954 School Act of, separate and equal being, they threw that out, so integration came. It came slow, though. It came slow here to High Point because in 1967, you had some kids who had gone to William Penn who were going to Central and Ragsdale, which were predominantly white schools. But the core of the black community remained at William Penn. And if there was really an advantage at William Penn that we had, it was that we had teachers who really pushed education. This was during a time when education was the key to unlock the door to opportunity. It still is, but I don't think it's valued to the point where it was valued then. Because when you don't have 10 things in the cupboard as opposed to one thing, that one thing takes on more value. All we had was education.
Yeah.
You guys have access. You grow up in a society where you're exposed to all types of people, all types of things. It's much more diverse. So you grow up with a feeling of, I can, because they are. See, we grew up in an atmosphere of we've got to try because we're being denied. See, that's a totally different mindset. Have you ever been denied anything in your life that you wanted to do?
No.
So you don't know that feeling. You know, you say, well, I can't get admitted to that white school, even though I have the grades. See, that's something that's totally foreign to you. You're going to High Point University. There was a time you could not go to High Point University. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you had to take whatever opportunity was afforded you, which were the historically black universities, you know, your A&T, Salem State, Elizabeth City State, Norfolk, those type of schools, and say, okay, I've got to concentrate on getting there. Therefore, the majority of the graduates from William Penn went to historically black universities. But they went. And we've turned out doctors, lawyers, teachers, politicians, the whole 9 yards. And we did it in an atmosphere that was separate but unequal, if you understand what I'm saying. See, it's a difference in something being separate and equal. That means, okay, you're over here, but you have the same resources as these people over here. But we didn't have that. We did not have that. So we had to overcome the unequal to level out the playing field so that we could carve out a life for ourselves. You know, there was a time I couldn't live in a neighborhood like this. You understand? Even if I had the money, I couldn't do it. See how times have changed? So the experience of going to a black segregated school, a lot of people say, well, that could be so negative. But for the time, for the circumstances, for where we were as a country, we use that as a positive. It's a frustrating thing to know you are as good or better, but you aren't given the opportunity to show that. See, that's one of the things that segregation tried to do to us as a people. Oh, yeah, you can go to school, nigga. You can learn how to read, nigga. You can learn how to do this, nigga. But you can't come in my community, nigga. You see? Yeah. You can have a college education, nigga, and you can come on my job, nigga, but you're going to sweep the floor. You understand? Yeah. You do in the context. And I'm just talking in the language that was taught. My wife had an uncle who had a college degree, fought in World War II. And when he came home, even though he had a degree and he was a skilled person that welded, he could not get a job in his field because there were no black welders here. You can be a janitor. Now this is a man with a college degree and a welder's license. That's the only thing he can be is a welder. You see? But you see how far we've moved. Yeah. Now we have a choice. We can be bitter as to the lack of opportunity that was afforded us, or we can take advantage of whatever opportunity was afforded us and make it better for the generations that are ahead of us. That's what we chose to do. You are a product of that. Now, where are you from?
I'm from Memphis, Tennessee.
You're from, so you know.
Yeah.
Memphis still is. You slice it down the middle, West Memphis is what? West Memphis has crime. West Memphis has poverty. West Memphis has all the ills of impoverished. You see what I'm saying? So here, because we were a small town, and because we were segregated, it didn't matter if you were a black doctor or a teacher or a lawyer, you still had to live with the factory worker, the vagrant, or whatever, because you couldn't separate. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You lived in the same neighborhood. You did everything together, but those were our role models. Now that we've gotten to the point where we can live where we want to live and go where our money takes us, we've left a whole class of people back there. You see?
Yeah.
And we say, well, either they can catch up or they can stay back. So we've become separate and unequal people ourselves.
Yeah.
If you understand what I'm saying.
This is true.
You see it right in Memphis. The doctors don't live over there with the factory workers, do they? You see, so we as African Americans, we've created a separate and unequal society within our own selves. Ferguson, Missouri, that is a case of separate and unequal. People all crowded in one little area. You know, you got 70% black folk and you got, 20% representation on the police department, none on the city council. You see, that is where America is going. It's being polarized. It's no longer color so much as it is economics.
Yeah.
But my experience from going to segregated schools. Now, my father was in the military, so we could have gone to school on post in Georgia, but he said, no, you're going to go to schools off post, which was segregated. And during 1963, 64, 65, at the height of the civil rights movement, Dr. King was first put in jail in Albany, Georgia. They're getting a march together. So I saw up close the beatings, the marches, just the degradation of black people trying to hold them down. Some of that existed here, but not to the level that it did there. And when I came back here, my senior year in high school at William Penn, it was like it's always been here. Nothing had changed. And in a way that was good, but in a way that was bad, because times were changing. Times were changing. And the thing that we had to be careful of, and our teachers had to be careful of, was that they didn't become wardens to keep us in line, but to open the door to opportunity. Some teachers did, some didn't. You know, you may talk to somebody and say, oh, we just had the best black teachers in the world. Some of those black teachers were just like some of these bad white teachers. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? See, we want to kind of glorify it when we're away from it.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, you're going to have good and bad no matter what you do. Mm-hmm. In an integrated society, segregated society. But by the grace of God, there was more good than it was bad. And there was a chance for opportunity. And that is what drives the train. That's what a lot of young people your age today don't understand. They take opportunity for granted. They think that they have a right to opportunity. Yes, sir, a sense of entitlement, a right. Do you know the difference in a right? You know what a right is? Yeah. All a right is, what is a right to you? If you have a right, what is a right?
If I have a right, I am allowed to do something. I am able to do something.
No, you're not. You have a privilege. Understand the difference in rights and privileges. The Bill of Rights should be called the Bill of Privileges because they are subject to change. The Constitution is subject to change. The law of the land is subject to change. Same-sex marriage right now. Before North Carolina voted against it, what did the judges say? That it's unconstitutional. They just changed the law, didn't they? Yeah. So now these people, they say they have a right to be married, but it's really a privilege that's given to them by a law enacted by man. Only God can give you a right, because only God can give you something that man can't change. You remember that as you get older. See, that's what we had to deal with. We were chasing we thought was our rights, But white folks were giving us privileges. Oh, you used to couldn't go to school with us. Okay, we're gonna let you come over here and go to school with us. We're gonna change the law so we think it's a right, but they're giving us a privilege. All of a sudden, you see schools segregating back again because of where people live, how they're bused. You got to pass a law to integrate it. So, do you really have a right? No, they're giving you a privilege. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So always know the difference in a right and a privilege. This country was built on privilege, not rights. And I love America. I went to Vietnam. I fought in Vietnam. I spent 29 years in the military. I love America because America is the best place in the world for me to live. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Got no problem with it, but I understand that the things that America allows me to do are not rights. They're privileges because they can be taken at any time if the law changes. You see?
Yeah.
So that's what young people, and I'm not going to say just young black people, I'm just saying young people in general need to understand because some of them feel so entitled that everything's a right. You know, if I want to tie my dog in my backyard, I can't tie him no more because they passed a law saying I can't tie my dog up anymore. I got to put him in a fence. Do you see?
Yeah.
So it was a privilege at one time for me to tie him, but the privilege is gone now. Yeah. Are you following me on this privilege and right thing? Mm-hmm. You know, and if you talk to your professor and you tell him now, I know the difference in a privilege and a right now. I used to think I had a right. No, y'all just giving me a privilege.
Yeah. It's true. It's true.
Because they can change it.
It's subject to change.
Subject to change. See, a right don't change. Okay?
Right's constant, yeah.
That's right. And only God can give you a right, bro.
Yeah.
That's only God. So if you get straight on that in your life, you'll go a long way. Because you will treat everything. The thing that people fail to understand, that black folk had to understand growing up, is that we had to value the privilege because we didn't have the right. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They gave us the privilege to have a school because there was a time blacks were denied the right to even know how to read. You see what I'm saying? They gave us the privilege to have books, and we valued the privilege. But see, when they signed a bill saying it's your right now, do you see how we just kind of moved away from valuing it? Because people value privilege more than they value rights. That's why laws change, because I want to do something that I'm not able to do. Come on now.
Yeah.
Same-sex marriage, that's a perfect example of it. If you say, well, okay, everybody's got the right to get married. Yeah, that's fine. But don't deny me my right to say, well, I think it should be between a man and a woman. Or I think it should be between two women or two men. You know, because it's a privilege to be married. Now, which path are you going to choose? That's just like when we were going to high school. We were all given access to different paths. But which path do you want to choose? Do you want to go ahead and seek the opportunity? Or do you just want to stop here after high school and just say, well, I'm just going to line them around? You see the results of it in Memphis, Detroit, High Point, anywhere you go. So the experience in High Point, and you can talk to people who have more of the High Point experience as far as high school than I do. Like I said, I only had the 1 year. And that's all I saw. I was concentrating on coming here, graduating, and getting on with my life. Whereas a lot of the people who I'd left here, they had gone through the whole cycle here. And, a lot of them had a lot of different experiences than I did, say in your sophomore and your junior year, which were your freshman, sophomore, and junior year, because we didn't have middle school. High school was was 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Yeah.
You had junior high school, which was 7th, 8th, and 9th. So those people that did 10th, 11th, and 12th grade at William Penn will have a lot more to say about William Penn than I will. If I'm just going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
To me, in a sense, William Penn was very limited. We didn't even have a baseball team and different things, and there were a lot of courses that we didn't have access to. I had come out of a high school in Georgia, where we had a student body of almost 1,500. We had a student body here, maybe 500.
Yeah.
You see the difference?
That's a
You
big
see,
difference.
yeah. And I come out where we had a broad spectrum of programs to one where programs were limited. But see, that makes William Penn an even stronger entity because the young people who went there had to overcome even more to be the successes that they are today. So my hat's off to it, you know, because they used what was available. Now, everybody didn't go off to college. You know, everybody didn't make it. Everybody, you know, there's some people struggling because that's just how it's going to be. But everybody had an opportunity to learn. But I know you've never heard of this, but W.E. Du Bois, the talented 10th, see, a lot of black schools were structured under the concept of the talented 10th. Do you know what the talented 10th was? Take the highest 10% of the kids who are going to school, they're the ones who are going to go to college. You see, you take them, you put them in a college track. The other 90%, you put them in an industrial track because we want them to go into the job workforce and do that because we don't think that they're able to compete at a college level. Now, that's W.E. Du. You look it up, the talented 10th, W.E. Du Bois, and you read it, and when you're talking to people, you ask them the question, say, do you feel like you were ever involved in the theory of the talented 10th? Because right now, what do you think honors programs are?
Talented 10th.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. You see what I'm saying? We had the same thing. At William Penn, you had the classes that were, they didn't call them honors courses then, they were like advanced courses. You were in a college preparatory track is what they would call it. And they would identify which students were to participate in this through the testing that was done that started in the third grade all the way up. So when you got to high school, by the time you got to high school, you stayed with the same group of people to graduation because those people had been identified. I don't know if that happened to you in your school, but see, it may not because of integration, but see, here it was just a tight-knit community. See, we saw something that you'll never see again. Families going to the same school. It's 14 in my family, and 7, 8, 9, 10 of us. No, 7, 8, 9 of us graduated from William Penn. The other ones went because of their age. They went to integrated schools. But do you see, if integration hadn't come along, it would have been a family of 14 who graduated from the same school. So you build
within.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? But the kids that you go to junior high school with, and then you get to 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, it's basically used to be the same group of kids because it talented 10th there. The testing, the advanced courses that you took, and all of that. So, and I guess it works. You know, some people would say, well, I have a problem with it, but they're doing it now. That's what AP courses are. That's what the weighted averages are. You know, how somebody gonna have 4.5, 5.0 on a scale of 4? Come on, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's just like say, I want you to give me 120%. Where you gonna get the other 20% from when 100% is all you got?
Is all you got.
You see? You see?
Uh-huh.
But that's the mindset that was built into us, is that you've got to do more because of who you are and what you are. You black. You black in America. So if you're black in America, if somebody running a race in 10 flat, you better run in 9-9. You understand? If somebody hit 350, you better hit 351. If somebody catch 200 balls, you better catch 201 balls.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody make an A, you better make an A plus. You understand the concept I'm telling? And see, and that in itself was not bad, because for the individuals who were exposed to that at school and at home, because one thing our parents would always tell us is, you've got to be better. And that's what drove us, and that's what kept us moving forward, those of us who did that. And if you talk to people in my age group, now they tell you, yeah, my mom and my dad always told me, you need to do more than I do. And your parents should be telling you that.
Mm-hmm.
They should tell you, no, you don't settle for what we did. You need to do more. Nothing changes.
Yeah.
If you come from a stable home with parents who care about what you're going to do with your life. I had a son, I told him the same thing. You need to be better. You need to strive harder. But the thing that we've got to do is to provide the support for them to take advantage of the opportunities. That's what's killing us as a community now. There's no such thing as a bad child. It's bad parenting, bad homes, bad environment. You know, what we've got to do is to try to create more support for them to take advantage of the opportunities that are out there. You know, you come all the way across country and went to college. You know, High Point University. If you look around over there, you will see that ain't many of me here.
Yeah.
You know, but see, that can be a positive if you allow it to be a positive, or that can be a negative if you allow it to be a negative. So the thing that you've got to do is say, what do I want it to be? A blessing, a curse. You should want it to be a blessing.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And when you go through, say, hey, try to make sure somebody else sometime come back through. That's what we were being taught in school. You paving the way for the next generation. And the only way that the next generation is going to benefit from what you do is that you try to do something positive and give something back. That was the message that I received from growing up in a separate and unequal society. You got any more questions?
I think you got all of them. I guess my last question would be, do you feel that growing up in your time as opposed to say now, do you feel like the position you're in now came from what happened in the past?
Yes, it did.
The pressure make diamonds, I guess, in this situation.
If you have any intelligence, if you have any drive, if you have any sense of who you are, you take every experience that you go through in life and you try to use it to your advantage. Now, there are plenty of people use being black as a disadvantage. They feel an entitlement. You know, they 40 acres and a mule. Keep waiting.
Yeah.
If you ain't got it by now, you think you're gonna get it?
No,
Reparations.
Get it.
You know what reparations are, right?
Uh-huh.
You think we ever gonna get any reparations?
Not unless we take it.
That's not reparations. That's booty. That's bounty.
Yeah.
When you go take it.
Yeah.
See, reparations is something somebody give to
You
you.
ain't getting that.
No. You understand?
You ain't
So,
getting that.
yes, all the experiences that I have ever had in my life have shaped me to be who I am. Because I will not let the negative experiences outweigh the positive experiences. I've been called nigga. I drank after colored on the fountain. I had to ride in the back of the bus. But you know, here I am. I can ride in the front of the bus. I can drink out anything I want. I can go anywhere I want to go. So God is good. So why am I going to dwell on the fact what I used to couldn't do and not rejoice in the fact of what I can do? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can I put it any clearer?
That's clear enough.
Yeah. See? See, I'm just straightforward.
Yeah.
I can't dress it up for you. I can't paint you a pretty picture. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
You can either be a victim of your circumstances or you can control your circumstances to not be a victim. That's just how life is. I'm sure you know people who are victims, even at your age, even in your age group. You know people who every excuse is they want to say, what's the difference between a reason and an excuse? All right, you gave me the excuses to why you can't do that. Now, what's the reason? I don't have a car. You can walk. I don't have no money. You can work. You see what I'm saying? You using the excuse to become your reason. And that's something that, thank God, was drilled into us because of segregation. Don't let the excuse of not being able to be with them be the reason that you don't succeed. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You can write that now. That will last forever. Don't let the excuse of you not being able to be with them be the reason that you do not succeed. Can't get no clearer than that.
Okay.
Anything else?
I think that's it. I think that's it. That was perfect. I did do my interview with Wiley Herbert today.
Herbert Wiley.
Herbert Wiley. I'm sorry, Herbert Wiley. But thank you for listening. This has been Ivan Bridgewater from High Point University, and this is the completed interview. Thanks.
Signing off.